fun today?
I think so.
We got music this time.
Yes, we are back in the tunes.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin MacLeod. And Apple.
Yeah.
Had a couple of issues the other day, but I think we got it all worked out now. So, we are the Jimmy Doane Show. Woohoo! I'm Counselor Curtis. You are Jimmy Doane. Not you, the listener. This guy.
I'm Jimmy Doane.
That guy right there, yeah.
This guy over in front of the Capitol.
That's right. Well, yeah, they haven't seen you yet.
Okay.
Can't see you. You're behind the screen, man. You fire up the transporter. Kablamo!
There we go.
Yeah. So, we are back. We do this twice a week these days, live on Facebook. Gene the man, hang a dog.
No
today,
yet.
That's right. Today is the 24th of July, 2019.
You know, that's a good point. Of course, I've seen a bunch of shows that people sometimes they'll even tell like what time it is, but they don't tell the date.
No, I know. You
And
can't.
it's aggravating. When I
Yeah.
go through and try and listen to them. At least ours, we tell the date.
Yeah.
We're good at that. Okay, well, not much news actually this since Sunday.
What?
No, we got a little bit.
Okay.
We got two major pieces we'll get to.
Okay.
But first, the most important thing is NASA is giving away a Saturn rocket.
All right.
Wait a minute, it's unused.
What?
It's unused.
Oh my God, one of our friends has to buy this.
No, I'm serious. Here's the deal. Anyone who wants it, all you have to you get. NASA's giving away an Apollo era Saturn I, not the one that went Saturn V. I think.
Yeah.
Is what, okay. A paltry, a smallish Saturn I.
Right.
To anyone who wants it, provided, and all they have to pay is $250,000 in transportation costs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it depends where you're going to take it, of course,
Right.
because if you're going to
The
go
moon. Oh, no.
well, no. Well, of course, it would certainly make a nice backyard display.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if anybody wants the ultimate display, and maybe and you can imagine
ultimate playground.
Well, that's not all, but I mean, you know, if you're like if you have an HOA, for instance.
Oh yeah, they'd love that.
They would love that, and of course, you know.
I don't see spaceship on this HOA agreement.
So anyway, the transport, and of course, I don't know if the $250,000 includes. Obviously, this thing is large, so there's going to be. When you talk about wide load, we're talking about closing roads. Okay,
Yeah.
we're talking about destroying a bridge and then building it back again.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're going to go. You have to go.
Transportation costs $50 million.
That's it. Whatever. So anyway, I have announced. Jimmy Doane has announced GoFundMe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. See, I don't think we don't really have an HOA here.
We had it. Yeah, we had a GoFundMe for our original satellite. So this just goes right.
This goes right with it. So we're going to have a GoFundMe. A paltry $250K.
Right.
It's
Plus shipping and handling.
plus shipping and handling. That's right. That's right. Postage. But at any rate, I thought it was. We're talking about 250,000 people, $1 each.
We are right.
That's
with our grassroots.
This could be something that could be ramped up. I think.
That's
and
right.
we could, people like people that have dealt with this kind of stuff before. We have people.
There's
that
like
know.
5 of them. Yeah, right.
And, well, we're here in Florida,
Right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it seems to me like if you were in Texas or Florida, this might be a great deal. If you lived like a mile from wherever it's being stored.
Yeah, I don't know where it says NASA, and I guess
it's like I said, it's
got to be.
Got to be either Houston or Cape.
It's got to be at the Cape, I think.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of the two.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's at the Cape, which is just down the road.
Yeah.
I mean,
so what you do is like you said, you have your couple of acres on a little house, a little hacienda, sort of on the west side of town, and you sell tickets, and people just drive right off of the interstate there. And you want to see a real rocket?
Now,
drive your car right through the rocket.
Well, what's interesting about this, of course, finally, after all the trial for these many years and all the money that's been spent here in town to make Gainesville a destination, we talked about this one time before. We had a way to make it a destination.
Yeah, I wanted to do the big G. The big G Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel, that's right. That was one of the great things we could have had. But it's interesting because we have a tax here, what they call a bed tax. I mean, who doesn't? Anybody that wants to, and of course the bed tax is like an extra 2 or 3, 4% on every time anybody stays 1 or 2 nights. They have that tax. So that I don't know, comes to a couple of $1 million a year, and they squander it. They don't know what they're doing, and they always claim. Well, it's really interesting because what they do is very unique for our government, of course, is that they have got all these pie in the sky things about attracting people with this money. They go to the Performing Arts Center, which they going to drive from Atlanta to go to our Performing Arts Center. Yeah, I don't think so. So, at any rate, they put the money in local stuff, even though it's supposed to be for attracting people, for the benefit of the people that are staying at the hotel here.
Right.
Of course, it's not.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, right. Win-win. So anyway, but this would be it. This would be the destination. Let's go see the rocket. I mean, this would be as much fun as the biggest ball of twine.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Or the Cadillacs in the
totally
would be as much as cool. The largest fry pan or whatever.
The second Stonehenge.
I mean, really, this would be great. And I mean, you could see it coming for a mile.
Bands.
What you would do, the rubber band ball, right? But I mean, the beauty of this is it would be there, and you could use it as absolutely as a landmark. I mean, you drive down, do you see the rocket? And then, I mean,
that would be good.
I mean, it would be perfect. So,
I agree.
And 250, I mean, for us, I don't know how
you say 250 feet?
200, huh?
No, 250 grand.
250 grand.
How tall is it?
It's tall.
Yeah.
It's and I believe, and of course, what you can do,
Put a diving board up there.
Well, I don't know about that, but you could certainly, that's the thought. But you could certainly put a mock capsule and everything. I don't think it has the capsule. Mm-hmm. It has, but you could put that on. You could build that on top of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you do that, and of course, for me, being a ham radio operator, I'd have an antenna on it.
Sure.
I mean, that's and I could rent it out to the cell phone people.
Yeah.
Be you could have a couple of things
all the way around it.
This is a business opportunity, and you can.
Sounds good. I'm in.
Okay, you're in. Good. Here's my dollar.
That's it.
Okay, next we've got, of course, a little bit on the foreign. We got a couple of foreign things today.
Eric would be apoplectic, of course, about getting. He would be driving.
Oh my God,
down there right now.
Oh my God, yeah.
Trying to get that thing.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah, that's true. It is going to be interesting to see who gets it because I mean that's not all that much money when you.
Well, like you said, transportation costs.
But again, for us, not that bad. There's ways.
Maybe not. Depends on how much those bridges are.
Yeah, and how many of them there are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. So anyway, disassemble it. Here comes BoJo.
Oh yes, Boris.
I love this BoJo. They're calling him.
Right.
And of course they're calling him the way he stomped the competition.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like he had like 75%.
Yeah. Now I have a question about that. It was 90,000 votes to 45,000 votes. What 1,000?
I don't know.
Who
are these people? I don't know. I just don't know.
I tried to look it up. I didn't get it. But
it's not. It's not. It's party members or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Something to do with party members, and but it's not like the MPs did this.
No, I mean it's 2,000. Parliament. Too many of them.
Yeah, even Parliament's not that big.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, but it was like you say, it was thousands, and it was about.
But not millions.
No, not at all. It was it was less than.
I think that's what Jeremy Corbyn's big beef is that he's like, we should be elected by the people. Oh, yeah. Kind of an electoral college throw out thing, whatever.
Well, I don't know. You got a pretty good sample. There was all conservatives in it, and they did it, and it was like I said, 75% of the vote went to him.
Yeah.
25 to the other guy. And but they're calling him. They align him. You've seen him, of course. He's kind of got Trump hair.
Yeah.
I mean that's
did you see his...
that has evaded nobody in that,
right.
in that when they look at this guy, they say, well, he does Trump stuff.
Just perfect for cartoons.
I mean.
The cartoonists have just got to be loving it right now.
No, they really are. But what's interesting is, of course, he's made the promise, and he said, we're going to do Brexit in October, come hell or high water, doesn't matter, either with or without an agreement. I don't care. And he has really gone Trumpism,
well,
this is what I'm going to do.
Well, I mean, that's why he was put there.
I guess.
He's been saying that for a while. Now, did you see his dad and his brother?
Yeah. His dad looked kind of Trumpy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what was funny is that the dad had the same hair.
Right, yeah. When I looked at him first, I said, that's not his dad. They misdone the picture.
Right. It looked just like him. Well,
Right.
older, they looked like they put that app on him. But then the brother actually combs his hair.
Uh-huh.
So
Right.
I thought that was interesting. But
Yeah.
he has the same hair, the same look and everything, but it's combed.
Okay.
You can tell what he looks like, sort of freshened up or
Okay.
straightened up, cleaned up, whatever it is.
Okay. Well, at any rate, the what I thought was interesting about this, of course, it was 92,000 to 46,000. So he will take over as prime minister tomorrow, and I think that's today. And after Theresa May's final PMQ, whatever that is, in the House of
Prime
Commons.
Minister's questions.
That's her final.
Prime Minister's questions.
Oh, Prime Minister's questions. Okay. Yeah, okay. And then she will trot over to Buckingham Palace to tell the Queen.
I like their questioning system. The right honourable man from the will shut up now.
Yeah, that's right. The right honourable. Yeah, I love this. And there's hollering and screaming and everything.
Yes,
I mean, it's kind of.
They get it out.
They do.
As
They do
opposed
get it
to our thing, which is like, all right, I'm going to give a speech now to the petroleum industry for the next 30 minutes.
Well, that's in the Senate. I don't think you have to do that in the House. You have a chance to, after the House closes down, which is how Newt got famous.
Right.
You go on there, and then
there.
C-SPAN sort of has to cover it.
Right.
So anyway, you could I forget
camera,
what,
it's
you
still
could
on.
sit there and go for an hour or two.
It's a security camera.
But what is amazing about this is there was not any great long. Like we have here, people are running. We got 20-some people running to be president. A year and a half from now, a year and a half.
Right.
This is over 24 hours.
Yeah. And not only that, but I understand that his term might be as short as 100 days.
Yeah.
It pretty much has some sort of mandate or some sort of...
Yeah, they're supposed to be. They have times, I believe. Correct me if somebody from England, call in or something. But I believe that they have every 3 or 4 years by mandate, 5 years, where they have to have an election. Okay, and of course, as the election time's closer and closer, then if you do change per people, that does not change when they have an election. Okay. And of course, any prime minister can call us, what May did, of course, before you can call a snap election anytime you want, and she got hosed on that.
Yeah.
When she called us, about 2 years ago, she called a snap election and lost people. You don't call a snap election unless you think you're going to really pick up seats. So anyway, that's here comes BoJo, and it's just kind of interesting. Now we get to look across the pond and see kind of what a Brit Trump looks like. And it's kind of cute. So anyway, speaking of the UK, and this has to do with the conspiracy theories. The UK seizure of the Iranian ship was calculated to force Iran to retaliate and thus provide the pretext for the neocons to get their war.
What?
Well, it's interesting because if you noticed, we have false flags and we have stuff like this all the time.
You think Britain?
Well, who knows? I mean, what this guy is saying is it wouldn't surprise me if this was. I mean, the fact is that the Iranians grabbed 2 ships, right? 2 tankers and towed them in there or whatever they did.
That's what the word is right now on the street, and they have soldiers. What I keep hearing, I mean, don't they have not soldiers, but don't they have 17 crew members? I heard first they're spies, CIA spies, and then...
No, I think those are different.
Okay.
I think those are people they actually rounded. I could be wrong again. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they rounded those people up like in Baghdad or someplace.
Oh.
I mean, they were like people that were there as attachés or something.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because as you know, we
they do that regularly over there. They'll round up some people and they'll say, well, they're CIA or foreign spies, and then just execute them real quick.
Well, I don't know about executing them, but they send them back.
Well, that's...
Oh, are they going to execute these guys?
I don't know, but that's what I've heard is one of their standard MOs in terms for political people. They'll do that.
Still,
they'll say,
if these are Americans and they execute them, I
don't think they are. I don't think they are.
You don't think they're Americans?
No.
I thought they were.
Well, like I said, I've heard.
I mean, if they're no, that's right. They could very well, yes, you're right. They could very well be Iranians or Iranians
or
that have been co-opted on the payroll of the CIA.
Exactly.
That's
the allegation.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But we'll see. I was sort of waiting for more news about it before I brought that one up because I figured some things would shake out of the.
Well, the other thing is, of course, the crew people.
Well, that was the other thing I was waiting for. I mean, if they really did seize 2 ships,
now the crew people, I don't think there's any Americans in the crew.
Well, that I don't think so either.
They're Filipinos or something. Or
well, yeah, as most international shipping, like you know, there's certain.
It doesn't matter how they're flagged.
Right.
If the crew is from something else, that's cheap crew.
Right. And everybody, I mean, the international shipping is replete with cheap crewmates from around the world. But still, I can't. I was still waiting for something else another shoe to drop, because it seems kind of out of bounds that they would be able to seize 2 ships under even British flag. But I haven't heard.
They're calling them tanker wars.
Well,
the tanker wars, ramping up the tanker wars, just as the Pentagon has announced it will send 500 troops to Saudi Arabia, which they have done no deployments since 2003. So, 15, 16 years ago was the last time. And I don't understand why they're sending 500 troops to Saudi Arabia. I don't get that. I mean,
the Yemeni war or something?
I don't know, anyway, this is an op-ed piece, an opinion piece. Many of us could have told the President Trump that the neocons always promise a cakewalk when they're taking a military action. Time and again, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, they promise a quick victory and then they deliver a quagmire. So it's, who knows how this is going to turn out. But when you start seizing, multi-million-dollar ships with multi-million-dollar cargoes,
somebody's going to get upset.
Yeah, somebody's going to be upset. I mean, so we'll see. I just thought that was kind of interesting. The next thing I've got here is the U.S. Attorney General says, this is our new one, our William Barr, says encryption is a risk to national security. Well, one of the problems, he says, Attorney General, that increased encryption of data on phones and computers and encrypted messaging apps are putting American security at risk. And what they're screaming for is a backdoor. They want Apple and all these other people that encrypt their stuff to give them a backdoor. So for legitimate reasons that they can go in there if they suspect that there's terrorist or some kind of criminal activity. They apparently this is some kind of cybersecurity conference, and it's a continuing effort by the Justice Department to push tech companies to provide law enforcement with access to encrypted devices and applications. There have been enough. The problem is, yes, this is lawful access simply cannot be done, but it can be and it must be.
Yeah.
And so
this falls into the more you tighten your grip,
right,
Vader.
That's exactly right.
Star systems will slip through your fingers. As soon as they force everybody to provide a back door, a market will arise the backdoor phone.
That's right. You have the anti-encryption.
Here's my phone right here.
That's right, and you just clamp it on there, and it encrypts it again.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean that's right. It's interesting.
You put this phone into
that's that right phone. In that phone. That's right. So of course they're talking about. Barr said terrorists and cartels switch mid-communication to encrypted applications to plan deadly operations. He described a transnational drug cartel's use of WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, I think, to a group chat to specifically coordinate murders of Mexico-based police. And how do they know that? I don't know. But it's, of course, what the Facebook people are saying. Wait a minute. You want us to do this, and there's millions, in fact, Facebook, billions of people who count on secure communications. Yeah. They're not doing anything wrong. Yeah. And just for the bad number, you want us to open, and of course
we crossed the Rubicon a while ago when it came to phone tapping and the NSA, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Snowden's entire revelation was. By the way,
yeah. Well, it is interesting.
When they say that they're not spying on you, that's a big fat lie.
That's right.
Metadata.
Eliminate the word "not."
Exactly. That's what's happening.
We are not spying on you.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So anyway,
Scouts out.
But I thought it was interesting. I remember when this came up a couple of years ago when they talked to Scully. Not Scully.
Agent Scully?
No, huh?
Agent Scully?
No, Agent Scully, right, yeah.
Just checking.
No, I was thinking when they talked to, what's his name at Apple? Not Jobs, but the guy who's there now.
Oh, okay. Cook?
Cook, yeah. And he said, we know our encryption is, they said at the time, he says, we're developing our encryption so that we can't break it. So, you can ask all you want.
Yeah, but that's like one of those things that's an advance and a retreat type of situation, or an advance and a counter advance.
Well, there are places that, when you go online, sometimes they'll say, we don't, this is, and you can go through, I don't know, DuckDuckGo or something like. You can go through some other types of browsers, and you can sign on supposedly anonymously. Of course, you can use a VPN.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to.
Well, you can certainly heighten your security.
Right, you can heighten it.
And but
and that's what people want to do, and for legitimate reasons. I don't want people.
Sure.
I don't want people to know that I'm chasing.
Yeah, but
after.
you're not gonna heighten and pass the government's ability to get into it.
You don't think so?
Not in any permanent way, because they're gonna have access to the biggest computers, and they can just overwhelm whatever encryption at a certain level.
The Whopper.
Yeah, exactly. If they ever get quantum computing sort of ramped up, they talk about. Obviously that's another level, but again, you can use the quantum computer to undo it. So.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Now the other thing the other big news for the day, I guess, was the Mueller.
Yes, well, and it hasn't happened. It's sort of happening right now.
Well, it happened. Some of it happened yesterday, I think.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. There was in front. There was Nadler was up there. I got all the videos of it.
Oh, okay.
Nadler, it was in the House. It was the House one.
Okay.
Or there were supposed to be two in the House, the judicial and whoever. There were two people that were going to question him.
Okay.
Well, apparently what happened was, I thought this was interesting. The headline here was Dems' dismay as confused, quote unquote, Robert Mueller stumbles through hyped congressional hearing, says he has no idea who created the creator of a dirty dossier, Fusion GPS, and can't even recall which president first appointed him. So he stumbled on it. He said, I think it was Carter.
Right.
He was appointed back then in the Reagan.
Oh, okay.
Appointed him to do something. But at any rate, he stumbled on a lot of stuff. I watched him. His answers were terse, to put it mildly, and they were trying to get something out of it. What they would do is they would ask this question that they would ask this question, a rambling accusatory question, and he would say nope. And so he answered a long list of questions with complaints that the subjects were not in my about subjects, and he said not in my purview,
right.
And dodged more than 100 times.
Wow.
So
I told them they better be careful what they wish for. When they first said we're going to bring Mueller in there, I was like, really?
Yeah.
He literally wants you guys to win. Talking to the left,
right?
He drew up the petition, his report in the best way he could possibly phrase it.
Yeah.
In terms of on the Democrat side, so to bring him in there was just going to make it worse. He purposefully did that.
Well, he said it was interesting. He very often he would say, when they would ask him a question, and he would
That's in my report.
That's in my report.
Exactly.
That's right. That's in my report.
Yeah, because he knew he'd already phrased it the best way he possibly could.
Well, he did, and it was interesting because they, how those congressmen, it's all grandstanding, and so they asked the question that you think you couldn't weasel out of it, but he says that's in the report. So take it or leave it. So they were a little befuddled. I read, it was quite a lengthy article in one of the newspapers. It was 8,000, 9,000 words. So I didn't read every piece of it. But
that makes sense because they're trying to get anything.
They were really trying to get anything. And
look, and here's what I would say to everybody who's still worried about Trump and Russia. What has Trump done for Russia lately? Have you seen any Russian news? Anything?
Yeah.
Anything. There's nothing. So unless they're just doing secret backroom deals all the time, and somehow Russia's building up a giant store of gold or weapons or something that we don't know about and nobody's reporting on, and the press is covering for Trump.
You're right. They did say that they asked him, for instance, was he over there to make millions of dollars with the hotel?
Right, millions, because he's only got billions.
Right, and so was he? And I think the answer was. Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that somebody was saying he's using the United States in violation of the emoluments clause, and I'm like, look, at most he's making, like you said, millions or something.
Well, and it's before he's president.
He's not changing,
and he didn't do it.
His lifestyle because of this.
No,
and he's not, draining the coffers or anything. So,
great. Okay, I'm moving on here to another subject
Go
which
ahead.
I thought was kind of interesting. Oh, I'm doing this only because Ms. Jimmy's phone, she's got a little clippy phone,
Oh,
a little
yeah.
folding phone where she can't use a smartphone at all. But it turns out that there's like 2 billion people on the planet that don't have a smartphone yet. So that's as far as I'm concerned, that's a kind of Walmart-y market. That is to say, if you can get it, so they found out they're doing new phones now that literally you can get them for around $25, and they're like Miss Jimmy's phone. Now I was looking
Super simple, right? I mean,
Very-
like the jitterbug kind of a thing. It's got
Well-
6 buttons or something. I mean,
Well, no, it's got all the stuff. You know, it's got the number keys, but you do have to learn. And I'll tell you, anybody that needs to do it, I've seen people do this. Because there's 3 letters on every number.
yeah.
But when you want to do texting, people memorize that, especially teenagers. They get that down. They can do it almost as fast as I can do
Well,
it.
yeah, but what you want is the voice thing, voice to text.
Well, that's what they're talking about. Now, that was the thing that they were saying. The features. This is what they're calling these. The let's see, the first time internet
Smart-ish
use,
phone.
device costing about
Smart feature phones.
smart feature. Well, I can tell you right now, it's kind of interesting, and I think voice is one of them that they're going for.
Yeah.
But because you got voice anyway.
Yeah, what you put voice on there, you put the maps on there. There's like 5 apps I could think of that would cover everybody. I mean,
And this
your
article did-
banking. I mean, that's it. I mean, what? And then you're good. Your photographs, but you just don't need.
Yeah, and they're talking about when you think about the cameras you can get today. I mean, even her little thing takes a hell of a nice picture.
Oh man, X-ray. I mean, it's like
Yeah, right. That's right. So no, but the point is, the only thing you have to do after that, of course, is to get the actual to pay for the internet itself.
my phone has an MRI map. It's so good. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's right. It's not a face recognition. It's a brain recognition.
That's right. That's right. Retina scanner.
Retina scan. Yeah, that's for sure. Well, but what I'm saying is it's interesting. Millions of first-time internet consumers from Ivory Coast to India and Indonesia are connected to the web with a new device that costs about $25. They look like the original Nokias. They have 2 kinds. There's some that are just flat, that just have a screen and the number, and others that flip phone.
Yeah, I like the flip design because, of course, you can make a solid case around it. I mean, you can put a shell around it like a turtle, so you can run over it with your car if necessary.
Well, that's not all. The other thing is you're not punching buttons when like my smartphone. My damn thing, I put it in my pocket, and you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I don't know why they got rid of the hold button off of the iPods, which was obviously necessary at the time, and yet somehow they got to the point. And I do the same thing. I carry my phone in a plastic bag when I go ride the bike, and even in the plastic bag, you can operate the phone through a little Ziploc bag. But if some water drips on the bag, well, then it just thinks you're pressing right that spot like over and over again.
Yeah, right.
So you can't get any moisture on it or anything, and so it's whatever.
Well,
so man, it sucks, man.
Well, I do have a wallet kind of thing that I use, that I can use from time to time, but it's very inconvenient when you're taking pictures and stuff. And you can do it, but it's inconvenient because you have to open it up and everything. But anyway, these hybrid phones, fueled by inexpensive mobile data, provide some basic apps and internet access. They're smart feature phones, as they are known, or one of the mobile industry's fastest growing, least known segments. Finding a way for the world's poorest people to get in the economy. Now, as I said, I went through some of the features that they've got, and I was reading on your mother, on Miss Jimmy's phone. It actually does an awful lot of stuff if you know how to get to it.
Well, but that's really the problem that they have at this point, is the knowing how to get to it part. It is, your phone has become like a violin in terms of your ability to use it. Yeah, sure, if you sit and practice with it day after day, after a couple of years, you get pretty good at using it. But they need to have one for Mrs. Jimmy and crew. You can flip it open and you can tell exactly what you're going to do. Solid state buttons that don't move around or change in position or have mode or anything like that. You don't need 6 different ways to access the same information, which they continuously try to provide you just in case you want to access it a different way. It's like, your camera roll. Do you want to see the roll or just the pictures, or the pictures from last month or from last week or from yesterday? It's like, what? Just one way through is all you need for somebody like Mrs. Jimmy, and I think they'll figure it out eventually. But I'm waiting because. It's the same kind of thing with, and a slight small tangent, nobody has music that you can play in your house anymore. You walk into somebody's house and you have to ask them, like, hey, what's your system these days? I mean, it's not, you can't, in the old days, you could walk in, you walk over to where the records were, right? Or the tapes or something. Everybody knew how to put the thing on the thing and make it happen. But now you get the record on the machine. Now you can't do that unless it's can I Bluetooth in?
You can do it with Mrs. Jimmy.
Well, if she's got Alexa, and you can say, Alexa, play my music or something.
Well, no, she's got a record player and records.
Yeah, right.
I mean, come on. She actually has a record player.
I know. Well, okay. So, but my point is that nobody has standardized that into new technology, and they've tried a little bit the Sonos thing or whatever. It just doesn't work so well yet. It's
certainly the Alexa does. The Alexa's pretty good. I mean, if you can get some decent speakers on, and actually the speaker on the.
I'm probably a couple years behind in technology in terms of Alexa.
Mine's amazing. Even my little hockey puck will play. It's music. It maybe not. It's not high. It's not double bass hi-fi or anything.
Right.
But it has a plug-in. If you wanted to put a speaker in it, you can do that.
Okay.
That was she was talking about the other day was. Having a party and what kind of music?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Nobody who shows up at the party will know. They'll have to say, "Well, what kind of system do you have?" Is it?
No, you just what kind of music do you like?
Well, like you said, if she's got Alexa working,
and
then there you go.
Lots of people do. I guess the Google one, whatever that one is, does the same stuff, doesn't it?
I suppose. Cortana then there's
Cortana's Microsoft, I think.
Okay.
But no, it has a competitor to the Alexa, doesn't it?
Siri.
No, Siri's on the Mac.
Okay.
I mean, on the phone. Okay. This is one thing here that let me just see how we're coming here. We're good. We're no good. Illinois. I love this part. Illinois, which is about broke, and Chicago's double broke. I mean, they're really horrible. I mean, they got almost no money left. But anyway, Illinois lawmakers push property tax hikes to fund affordable housing. I sit here and I think, what a hoot. And they do that here. I mean, they do that here. They raise taxes and they say, well, we need some affordable housing. And you're thinking, wait a minute, my property taxes just went up to pay for this, quote, affordable. So, and they've made this, they're not even trying to disguise it. Property taxes will go up to pay for affordable housing if the legislation passes. It's not styled as a property tax increase, however. It's styled as property tax caps.
Styled.
Oh, yeah, right.
Styled. No, that's
It's styled as property tax caps or reductions for affordable housing, which would directly result in increases for homeowners and everybody else. So, I mean, people, they're saying, they're looking at this and say, but I'm paying more in taxes. But no, you're not. I mean, they did the math. They said, but you don't understand. The amount of revenue we collect is exactly the same. It's not like anybody's getting a reduction except for the affordable housing people. So if the amount of reduction, if the amount of collection is the same, then guess where that money's coming from? It's from other people who
somewhere
don't get the reduction. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What it does, it gives tax breaks to owners of apartments for lower income renters. And that's the problem is that levy total amount collected wouldn't change. And so basically, property owners would be funding affordable property for other people.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're in the pendulum swing back towards a government subsidized housing.
We are.
Well, yeah, because we had the giant push in the 90s where we're going to get everybody in a house. And I mean, a huge amount of money and forces were directed at that goal. And they did it. They put a bunch of people in subprime housing.
Oh, right.
And then there was a huge crash.
Right.
And so there was a kickback, and the pendulum went back the other direction. But now we're at the point where everybody's looking around going, hey, home ownership is kind of low, and there's going to be a push back in the other direction. But
Well,
Interest rates are
I've often said,
still
I mean,
super low.
one of the things that people, the American dream was to own your own home. Well, when you think about it, if you rent, you're always worried, well, maybe the rent's going to go up. Well, I mean, but maybe your property taxes are going to go up if you own your house, and your maintenance and all that other stuff you have to pay for.
Well, I think
You still have a house. I mean, if you rent, you still have a house.
Well,
and you have the ability to hoof it on out of there.
Well, look, there's tons of advantages to renting.
Right.
When they talk about the American dream being home ownership, though, I think it's about a freedom thing. It's about your home is your castle kind of idea. You have a bunch of extra laws and protections that go along with your homestead. And so, if you're renting, your landlord can authorize somebody to walk in. Somebody else has got a key. You can't change things. Of course, you can't change things at your home anyway these days. Anyway,
Yeah.
So it used to be a lot bigger difference. But I'm with you. I mean, there's renting is it's the virtual same. But whatever.
Well, what I'm saying is that so often they hold this holy grail of owning your own home up as something that everybody really would want to do. And I'm thinking, no, a house is a house is a house. Shelter is shelter. Well, I mean, it's not, at least it's not a cardboard box under a bridge. We're talking, if you rent from somebody, there's some bad news, but the beauty of it is you got the freedom to hoof it out of there anytime.
Well, you're right. Also in the sense that they are trying to make it more important than it obviously actually is.
Right.
That is, the market, that is the people who actually want the homes, tell you exactly how much they want the homes by how much they're willing to pay for the homes.
Right.
But these do-gooding government types want you to have the homes more than you want them to have them.
Right.
And so they're going to
provide these incentives.
That's right.
That's right.
And it's obviously they're unfair incentives because they took the money from somebody else.
Right.
So but I think we're in the pendulum swing. I think we're going to see big housing programs come from the Democrats when they get elected in 2020, which we'll get to in a minute.
Okay, well, I'm not there yet. Almost. Okay, let me tell you. I only got a couple things left.
Okay.
Well, no, I actually got a couple more things.
Yeah, we got time.
Okay, electromagnetic attack sparks a massive blackouts across Venezuela.
That was me. Sorry, I hit the button.
Yeah, right. And I thought it was interesting because the Ministry of Electricity or whoever they are came out and said, this was like an like what you would do with an atom bomb or something.
An EMP.
An EMP, right? That's what they're blaming this on. Not on the fact that they have incompetence running the electric company.
Right.
But gosh, it just happened.
It was an EMP. It was
That's
Estevez, Miguel.
So anyway, back in March, the country experienced a very damaging rolling blackout that brought the country already devastated even closer to outright collapse, which as far as I'm concerned, is just about collapsed anyway. The widespread power outages and the big deal was no internet connectivity have occurred just before the self-proclaimed interim president of Venezuela is expected to launch a nationwide anti-Maduro protest.
Now, did you hear a third guy came forward and claimed to be the president?
Yes, I did. A
Okay.
third guy, right. But what I'm saying is, coincidence? I'm sorry, just as this guy's getting ready to announce everything, suddenly there's no internet, nothing, but, all over the place. I think not. Again, so they blame it on God, an EMP from God or something, an exploding asteroid.
Well, so, whether it's
Or the United
incompetence
States.
or the current regime, it's bad.
Yeah. Well, I just think that it's interesting that the big deal, and we're going to talk about this just a second. The big deal was the internet connectivity, and apparently, what some people have done after the last time, a couple months ago when they had one, a lot of people have set up their own little local internets with generators.
As our wonderful hanger dogs had pointed out before, Hughes Satellite, I believe, will accommodate you for internet connectivity if you don't have cable.
Right. But this was not that. This is apparently they're setting up some kind of local Wi-Fi. Maybe how you can use your phone to hitch up.
Oh yeah.
And maybe they do that, but they have generators and everything so that people can get on. There's a lot of people had prepared for this blackout supposedly, but it was like over half of Venezuela or something, and it was totally out for days. So what's interesting about this is parallel item. Bitcoin is back below 10,000. As Venezuela sets a new crypto volume record. What's interesting, of course, is that even though I forget exactly what they said, Venezuelans traded more bolivars for Bitcoin than ever before, but statistics say more about fiat than cryptocurrency, because what happened is as the bolivar decreases, you can buy fewer and fewer Bitcoins, but they have really been trying like crazy to get into Bitcoins before the bolivar.
Well, when we brought this up last show, when we talked about the question of why Venezuela hasn't moved into that before. I mean, when you're looking at 1,000,000% inflation, you missed the boat. You should have bought it last year or the year before. So, but it must have to do with transferability, with some type of ability to get your money back out of the Bitcoin.
Well, that's what they said. Underscoring the weakening bolivar, Venezuela's cryptocurrency trading is not supported by the government, which has also imposed embargoes on foreign currency.
It must be illegal.
Yeah, it is. However, interestingly enough, Iran has legalizes crypto mining as official industry. Today's news also follows yesterday's reports that Iranian Economic Commission reportedly finalized a tariff scheme for cryptocurrency miners, according to the report. A fellow details that Energy Minister Homayan Hari announced that while the tariff scheme has been finalized, it is awaiting approval from the cabinet, a government body that consists of who knows what, friends or whatever. He didn't elaborate on the exact price scheme. He stated that the price is dependent on market factors, such as fuel prices in the Persian Gulf. The head of the Iran Electrical Industry Syndicate previously proposed a price of 7 cents per kilowatt hour for cryptocurrency. Electricity in Iran currently is very cheap because of government subsidies. 1 kilowatt hour of electricity currently costs a nickel. With power being cheaper in the agricultural and industrial, they've subsidized everything. Interestingly enough, put these prices in context. The Energy Ministry spokesman for the Power Department previously stated that the production of a single Bitcoin uses about $1,400 in straight subsidies. Well, it's a $10,000 coin. A Bitcoin.
Now, yeah.
So $1,400 in subsidies to get one Bitcoin doesn't sound too bad.
Well, we knew people would be cranking up their mining operations again after it.
Well, as we said last time, I think it was Sunday, we said they've imposed an embargo on the mining machines. I think that's what I said, right?
Yeah.
In other words, these are the water cooled, giant multi-core whatever it is that can do really smart calculations per second, millions if not billions anyway, in one box. It's all computers, but it's running red hot, so you have to have. I thought it was interesting that some of the favorite places to do the mining are either where the electricity is cheap, like here, or where it's cold, like in Iceland.
Oh.
Yeah, and they basically
put it in the snow.
Put it in the snow. Yes, I mean you leave it outside for God's sakes. It's it's minus 20 degrees. You better believe it's cold. And apparently that's a big deal up there. So I thought that was funny. So anyway, I thought it was interesting that the two countries, Venezuela and Iran, have, shall we say, slightly different ideas on cryptocurrency. And apparently they're within a gnat's eyelash of making the cryptocurrency legal in Iran to pay for stuff.
Well,
so
it wouldn't surprise me if your currency is tanking.
Right. Well, theirs is tanking also, not as bad as Venezuela, but it's tanking because of the sanctions and everything.
Yeah.
So who knows? Also, this is something that I'm going to switch subjects now as we move along before we get to your stuff. This I thought was kind of interesting, and you'll like this because you're a big push-up guy, right?
Oh yeah, I saw the kid, right?
The kid. A 6-year-old Chechen boy completes 4,600 push-ups in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are complaining. They say, wait a minute. Those aren't real push-ups. I mean, a push-up is you go all the way down and all the way up, and apparently what he's doing are the kind of push-ups we used to do, where you don't go all the way down. But still,
I watched him a little bit. I mean, listen, the kid's got serious skills.
Yeah, he does.
And he can do like handstand push-ups.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I mean he's going to be good if he keeps doing it. I mean, we had a kid like that in the news here about 10 years ago called Little Hercules. This little buff kid.
Yeah.
And then after 10 years, there were the pictures that were how does little Hercules look now? And he's like some beer-gutted, swilling guy, a regular American. So we'll see what happens with the kid. He's getting praise over there in Chechen, but he's good. There's no question.
Calling him the Chechen Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, well, he's six
He's
or
6.
something. I mean, it's
Whatever,
Yeah.
So anyway, he did that. Now the last item I've got here, big news. Anthony Weiner
oh shit.
moves back with Huma Abedin
Why are we mentioning this?
because it's news. She apparently, when he was in jail, he spent 15 months in jail or something, or whatever.
Yeah,
Was it
think
15? He sexed a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he went to jail for a while, and apparently, she filed for divorce, but then withdrew it.
Okay.
So they're still married. So he's moving into her place.
Good. Well, good for them.
Yeah, but I just thought this was interesting that the paparazzi were out there taking pictures of him, and I'm thinking, what's Amadin? What's she doing? What?
They're married. It's maybe she's Catholic or something.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I thought she was, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, that's my news.
Got? Okay, let me see if I got anything here that's different. A couple of things. Yes, well, a couple things. So, the budget deal.
Oh my God, the budget deal.
That's right.
I was talking to Ms. Jimmy about this, and I thought,
What did she say?
she thought it was okay, it's fine,
Really?
we got it through. Yeah, that's
I can't understand this. What happened to everybody who was... It's like everybody forgot that he talked about... Everybody's forgotten about the debt, the deficit, spending.
next year. After the election.
Yeah.
After the election, we'll fix this.
And the problem is, I've said it now on a few different shows, he is masquerading as the conservative.
Right.
But I think he's shown his true colors now as a tax and spend Democrat. And it's the guy he's always been. We've known for 30 years. When he went on Oprah in the 80s, his policies were this way.
Really?
Yeah, you can go back and look and see. I mean, he always talked about taxing and spending. He was big programs, and he wants the big T on the program, basically.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think that's what I keep saying. I'm surprised the Democrats haven't gone after him more for other programs, infrastructure and
Oh, you mean,
solvent
to really
energy.
ramp it up.
Yeah, where's the real spend now? I say where's the real spending, but they've authorized over $1 trillion in deficit for the next 2 years.
Right. Each year.
There are no breaks. We are in the soapbox.
Yeah, well, I thought we were going to come up. We talked about this a week or two ago about they were coming up for a budget deadline again.
Yeah, we did.
And of course
we thought, maybe this will be.
the
something. No, nothing.
It's
man.
smoked. They were 2 years.
He went over there and said, "What do y'all want?
Right.
This is what we want."
Yeah.
And we got $45 billion in the Reds got $45 billion in more military spending because we really needed to ramp up our military, and the Blues got $65 million in some others. Huh? Billion. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Trillion.
That's right.
Can't even. I don't know.
Yeah.
A gajillion.
Yeah, a gajillion. Exactly. Everybody got everything they wanted, and it's just going to get. There's going to be more from here, but now Elizabeth Warren has finally come out and said, "Red flag economy. Watch out."
Yeah. What is that? I didn't read the whole thing.
She's been reading around and seeing, because you've got people who are raising the flag. You got people who are out there saying,
We're talking about the surrender flag, or?
Well, yeah, I know.
What flag
After
are
I
you
said
talking
that, I
about?
was like, I don't know if that's the analogy I wanted. But waving the red flag, they're saying the economy is showing some signs. There are some manufacturing numbers which have been down. As we know, even though the stock market's up, there's been a huge amount of buybacks with all the companies.
Right.
There's been the twist and all the bonds. So I mean, we're in strange territory, I think, and I think we have too long to go before the election. I'm going to say it again. I said it last time and the time before. I think for the last 2 elections.
Trump's not going to be elected if the economy tanks, and it probably will the next 14 months.
There you go.
Okay, well now, but what you did notice, of course, about this was the spending. Of course, and everybody thinks it's just peachy, and the problem has to do with math. And these people apparently just are, just whistling in the dark.
Well,
as far as this is concerned, we'll just print. What could be the problem with printing up more money?
And I'll tell you, I was on their side recently because I was saying, as early as a few months ago, I'm sure, I was talking about how the dollar is in no danger of losing its status as reserve currency because there is no other alternative. But what we're seeing is, and I think what I have begun to see is that there are technological, not necessarily the cryptocurrencies, but there are ways you can now store your money in, for example, gold at Peter Schiff's gold money account, and then spend it using a credit card, so that you're not in danger of losing any to inflation.
Right.
And so it's. To me, it's almost as if gold itself is presenting itself as a reserve currency through the technology. And if anybody were to attach their cryptocurrency directly to gold, like the Orbit I heard was, although I've never been able to buy any of the stuff, or some foreign currency were to do it, like that African country we mentioned, which I didn't look up since last time, that's doing their cryptocurrency, or ISIS for a little while was coining all of their money in gold. So if somebody does that, I think that there's going to be a big sea change. But
yeah, we'll see. Well, it is the let's see, were you just talking? Oh, the simple fact is, though, with the math, obviously this can't go on forever, and the problem is, of course, all the money that you borrow is coming out of your kids. Your grandchildren have to pay that money. All debts eventually have to get liquidated, one way or the other.
Well, but they could be defaulted on, and that's they could be defaulted on.
Yeah, but that means that everybody that happens to hold that debt is now broke.
Shafted.
It gets totally the shaft.
Right, and also there goes your credit ratings for your next.
And that would be a good thing, actually, if the United States couldn't borrow any money. One of the things that happens is, and I was talking to Ms. Jimmy about this. I said, you do understand that 2/3 of government spending is in entitlements, untouchable. And unless somebody comes up and says, and of course all you have to do is to say, look, in order to balance the budget, we're going to cut Social Security in half and we're going to cut Medicare in half. And that way we can balance the budget. That way you can have your military.
Popular plan.
Probably not. I'm not sure that would be something that you'd want to, go out on the stump to tout as reason you should be president.
That's our slogan.
Yeah, that's our slogan.
Entitlements in half.
That's right. And that would be about the only way. And because unfortunately 2/3 of the budget is in the entitlements, and what that means is if you cut out all discretionary spending, I mean all of it, including the military and everything, which they're not going to do, but I mean everything, all the education, the transportation, all the agencies. If you cut all of that out, you might be able to just barely balance the budget.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's a problem, but we'll see. But we got nobody on our side anymore, so I don't know what. Trump lied. Is what it comes to. He lied about that.
Yeah. Don't let Miss Jimmy hear that.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm surprised Mrs. Jimmy is still defending him in that.
Oh, is she kidding? She worships him.
Well, on that particular issue though, she needs to wake up. All right. Speaking of economics. This was the best news of the week, I thought.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders' campaign. You saw this, I'm sure. What? You did not see this?
Maybe I did. Well, tell me.
Okay, so Bernie Sanders, some people on his campaign realized they weren't actually making $15 an hour.
Right.
Because they were salaried and they were working
60-hour weeks.
Yeah. And so they did a little math and decided, hey,
wait a minute, we're making $11.
So Bernie said, I got this. You guys can stop working so much.
Right.
So that'll solve your problem.
Right. That's what he said. That's right. He cut their hours.
Right.
That's what he did. He basically cut their hours. So
he did.
You still get the.
Now, I waited for a whole news cycle to bring this up because I thought okay, there's got to be more to the story or whatever it is. But this is what it appears to be.
Yeah.
And so if you want to know how socialism works, this is it.
Right.
There's no way he can't. His campaign just isn't suddenly going to get a whole bunch of more extra money to pay these staffers more cash. So, and it's the same thing with the company. If you raise the wages at a company, the company is not just suddenly going to get a whole bunch of more money to pay those extra wages.
Extra productivity.
No, you're not. No. So you are cutting either hours or jobs, and usually it's the jobs part. He's doing it the save face way by cutting everybody's hours.
Yeah.
But if you're in a regular company, what you do is you pick out your least productive employees, and those are the ones that you cut.
Right.
You don't cut everybody across the board. He can afford to do that because he's got a campaign that he doesn't have to win anything with.
Well, it is interesting. It reminds me of the guy that used to run GE, who wrote a book, and this is my Alzheimer's kicking in. I forget what his name was, but he was the one that got GE from,
Not the Lee Iacocca. He was Chrysler.
No, that was Chrysler. Anyway, he wrote a book about it. He's a really smart guy, but his mantra was basically he cut the bottom 10% every year, no matter what.
There you go.
No matter how they did it. They said basically if you're in the bottom 10%, you're not producing enough.
Right.
So basically, that was it. That was his mantra.
And that's a good strategy.
Yeah. So
It's
anyway, the
quote unquote ruthless.
Yeah, no, he says, I'm giving them a better opportunity. Obviously, this is not their opportunity for them. They need to go find something they're better at.
Yeah, that's a pretty optimistic view.
Well, it was.
But look, I'm totally with you, but it's just so interesting that Bernie had learned the hard way. And
he hasn't learned anything.
Well, I realize that.
The point is, did he change his campaign strategy?
Well, look, here's the thing, though. I gotta believe a lot of Bernie supporters learned a lesson there.
You think so?
I do, because you can't. It's undeniable. He cut the hours. Somebody is saying to themselves, "Well, wait a minute. Why can't you just pay them more?
Right.
Why can't you just?"
Well,
pay
you
them
got to
more?
think about the guys that were making not making the $15 or whatever it was, and now they've cut their hours. But they're getting the same paycheck they were before.
Right.
They had expected.
So they get a second job.
Right, I guess. Yeah, that's right. Because here's the deal. What they were expecting was that their wages would go from the $12 or $11 an hour to $15.
They're expecting to get a bigger paycheck.
Bigger paycheck, right. And in fact, guess what? No, you same paycheck, you just leave.
That's right.
You check out early.
But, I mean, in the defense of what they're going to say, obviously, is, well, look, now you have all that extra time that you're spending overtime. You can go get your second job. But you're still going to work your 60 hours a week. And
no, you're 40. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you work 20 at another job, right?
Right, exactly.
That's right.
So at least you've got
minimum
the
wage too, by the way.
Right, well, exactly.
That ain't going to be no $15.
Well, you never know where you're getting an Amazon. You back order 15. But but I just thought that was the good one for me. Okay. And here's another one that's super important. And this is because, from my perspective, mostly because it involves the New York Times. The New York Times ran a story entitled "The Hate Is Real," and this was about the Georgia lawmaker that got in a conflict with the Cuban guy at the Publix in Atlanta.
Right.
Okay, so if you watch the story,
it was a girl.
Yeah,
it was a girl that came out and was sobbing and crying because she'd been dissed.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Acting. Okay,
yeah.
That was acting. It was pretty good acting, but it doesn't jive with the rest of her statements. When you look at her other statements and what she said, it has become clear. Not only did he not tell her to go back where she came from, but she told him to go back where he came from.
Oh, is that right?
Not only did she admit that personally, but the store manager heard her say that to him several times. Now, he's a Cuban guy, all right? So to tell a Cuban person to go back where they came from should be just as insulting as telling anybody to go back where they came from, right?
Yeah.
So we will find out from this story whether or not black people can be racist towards white people.
Well,
and the answer is no. So we know.
Right, but he's what was he?
He's a white Cuban guy.
Oh, okay, white Cuban.
But I mean, he looks like a white guy when you see him. I mean,
Okay.
he looks totally like just a regular white dude. But
Okay.
he says he's Cuban. I believe him. I mean, but it's just interesting that the backlash has not been there, at least not yet. But I mean, they went and investigated him for assault and everything based on.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Based on, she said he walked up with fists clenched. She knew all the right words to say. She was in fear for her life.
Well, yeah.
Couldn't leave the store and all this kind of stuff. Fear for her life, yeah. But, I mean...
in the grocery store. This whole thing was because she had 15 things in a 10-item and a speed out. You know?
And he went out of her way to walk over there and give her a piece of his
right,
mind.
after she left.
No, after he left. He actually went through, first, a different checkout line.
Okay.
And then talked to a manager, then went back, walked over to where she was checking out, still in the
Fast lane.
in the fast lane, and then told her, called her a bitch or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and then left, whatever. But it's just the reason I bring this up, to me it's a minor story except for two parts. One, she's a lawmaker. So
Right. That's right.
She should be held to at least as high a standard as everybody's being held to around here in terms of what she's going to tell about immigrants to go home. And number two, the New York Times reported it as if it was a hate crime, basically.
Oh, wow.
And you can't. All my friends have been New York Times. That's real news and everything. No, it's not. It's actually totally fake in this situation.
All the news is fit to print.
Well, the story should be not the hate is real, but the fake is real because.
One of the things that it did occur to
the
me,
hate is fake.
as you know, there's a burgeoning movie industry up there.
Yes,
She was acting.
I'm telling you.
This is her. This is what she
Her
takes-
audition.
This is her audition.
Yeah.
She takes this in.
It was pretty good. I'll give her that. It was
There
pretty
we
good.
have- see,
she
there
went,
we have it.
My God. It was like
if she's
she
not
was
making enough money as a legislator, she
destroyed
could go be an actress.
by this particular thing. But she went over the top a little bit. So anyway, had to bring that up.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. I think
We're just about out of time.
Yeah. And
Unless you have something critical.
no. But we will keep our eyes out for Hong Kong. Nope, that's all I got right here. So, all right. Let's see. Where'd that music go?
Where did the music go?
It's hiding from me.
When did the music stop?
Yep, there it is. Oh, see, that's our other song here. Let's see. See, I don't even know what's playing. Oh, here we go. Okay. It's a brave new technological world.
All right.
I lost functionality on my computer. It's crazy. But we thank Kevin McLeod for these tracks. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. This is Jimmy Dome Show. We do this twice a week live. Right here on Facebook. I'll post a timestamp copy up on YouTube afterwards so that you can find us easily, share us easily. We're also on SoundCloud, Spotify, Luminary, all those kinds of places. Apple Podcast. I'm Councilman Curtis. This is the show.
We'll be back when? Sunday?
Yeah.
Sunday at 4 o'clock.
Oh, thanks everybody for joining us. Looks like we got a lot of people. Dan, Susie, Bill, John, Jeffrey, Gene. Hope you guys had some fun.
They all want to get their rocket.
Yeah, somebody's buying the rocket.
Yeah, well,
hopefully.
wait a minute. Jeffrey's down there, isn't he?
I don't know.
No.
Jeffrey, buy the rocket.
Yeah, Jeffrey's down there. He's right down the road from the rocket. Yeah, he can buy it.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you soon.